Well, I feel like a bit of a newbie here. It has been so long since I've been in front of this camera because the last messages that we recorded was recorded weeks and weeks ago before they actually aired. And I appreciate all of you that have been watching. I try to do these well in advance, and today I'm doing the day that it is going to go out. I'm literally recording it and then sending it straight out, this message video. I feel a little uneasy. We got so used to doing this so much, and yesterday we did 2 podcasts, and I lost my voice and was really unable to talk much of any because now my voice is not in tune and strengthened to be able to do what is demanded of it in order to be able to do these videos and podcasts. If you haven't listened to the podcast, let me put a plug in. I have been so blessed. We are teaching in Romans. I have enjoyed that so much. A little while back, we actually took a message video from teaching in Romans, and we're going to do that again coming up. If you haven't listened to the podcast, and some people say to me, I don't even know what a podcast is, I understand that. It is basically an audio message the way that we are doing it. And we're teaching in Romans. And so if you go to the website, thewarriorsword.org, and just go down on the homepage to podcast and click on that, that will link you to the podcast and you can listen. And I just would encourage you to do that, even though we're going to do a message video on one of the topics of Romans. Still, it would bless your heart, I think. There's such wonderful teaching in Romans, not because I'm teaching it, but because the wonderful Apostle Paul wrote it. And so I just invite you to do that. Because it has been a while since we did a video, I've got a number of messages laying here that I want to do on video. Some of them I've already preached at our church. Some of them were inspired by different people's writings, and the one that I chose today, it falls into that category, and I'll share a little bit more about that. But I went through and looked at the different messages, and I determined to do this one. It wasn't too long ago that I preached this at our church, and I don't know how it's going to come out, but we've kind of been in this situation within the Warrior Sword Ministry. Those of you that get the newsletter by email or by snail mail should have already gotten it or should be getting it very soon. And hopefully we will have it up on the website shortly. But we talked about this in the manifesto, about the struggles and the decisions that are being made in the ministry. And I've wanted to be very careful. Sometimes our influence can get involved way too much in the decisions that we make. And that was why this message originally struck me. I actually wrote it out months and months ago, intending to preach it, and then it kind of went into the files, and I never did anything with it. And as I was going through and picking messages out that I wanted to bring out to the church, this message came back out again. And I thought, yeah, so today as I was getting ready to do the video, I wanted to do this. I'm going to break the rules of ministry, which I do quite often. I'm going to be real again. I'm going to be real again. And so often, unfortunately, we are taught in ministry not to do that. I'm a rock. I'm the example of everything in the whole wide world, and I have everything right. You need to follow me. That's the attitude that we're told to have in ministry. What an absolute fake joke. Because ministers don't have everything together. Sometimes we struggle more than you lay people do. It's hard. And honestly, I don't recommend to anyone anymore to go into ministry. We need to be doing ministry, but I don't recommend to go into ministry, the organized, structured ministry, because the church will trash you. Most church ministry has nothing to do with Jesus Christ anymore and reaching people for Him. And so it's hard. I'm not saying that whining. I've been considering and saying I want out of ministry completely. I can't do that. I will never do that. God created me to be a minister. That's what I will always do. And so I say all of that in the sense of we are taught to put on this fake portrayal so that people exalt ministers up on a pedestal. And then when ministers fall off of that pedestal, and if you put ministers on pedestals, let me promise you they're going to fall off of the pedestal. It will happen. We're not perfect. We're not awesome. We wake up and we put our pants, or if you are a lady, your dress or whatever, we put that on one leg at a time, just like everybody else. And so I break the rules of ministry because I won't give you that portrayal. I'm real, just like you are real. And just because I put on a suit or a t-shirt, whatever I happen to be dressed into for the day, doesn't change that. I'm still real. And this message came, it's inspired by one of my heroes in the faith, Dr. Dennis Kinlaw. If you've followed us at all, you've heard me mention him before. You will hear me mention him again. And I love his devotional. His devotional was in my series of devotionals last year. And it was during last year that I read the devotional that inspired this message. And that's what I want to bring to you. I said all of this preliminary stuff, and I'm going to end up making this message way too long. But I said all this preliminary stuff just to say that maybe some of you listening today or tomorrow or the next day, whenever you watch it, will understand what I'm talking about. I wrote this message out of the devotional, and now I have been right in the middle of this situation. The no in my heart. That is N-O. That is not K-N-O-W. That is N-O. The no in my heart. Do you have a no in your heart? 2 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 20. For all the promises of God in him are yea, and in him amen, unto the glory of God by us. There isn't to be any discussion. The promises of God are yes and amen. The problem is in our concept. Have you ever stopped to think that God is smarter than you are? Have you ever stopped to think that God is smarter than you are? I know, immediately, you will quickly say, well, of course God is smarter than I am. And I do too. I know that God is smarter than me. I know that he knows more than I do, that he's way above and beyond anything that I understand. But if you're really honest with yourself, do you really believe it? Maybe the greater question is, do you live like God is smarter than you are? Dr. Kinlaw shared that was a difficult lesson for him. And I kind of, as I was reading that, I thought, wow, this great, wonderful man of God, that's a hard lesson for him to learn, that God is smarter than he is. I accept it at times. At times I live like it. At times my attitude is very clear that God is smarter than me. And then at other times I live like that I don't even believe that he's as smart as me. Here's the heart of the matter. Right now, I don't like where I am or where I am going in things. There's a lot of struggle inside of what it is that we are supposed to do. So much of what we were doing and being blessed in crashed. I talked about that in the study in the book of Romans, that we quote that verse, and maybe I even said it in a message video. We quote that verse, for we know that all things work together for good to them who love God, to them who are the called according to his purpose. And then we look at that and say, yeah, but some things don't feel very good. God, are you really smarter than I am? And right now, I don't like where I am or what I am doing. And it's like, God, what are we up to here? God looks at you and says, I want you to take your hands off of your life and let me put my hand on it. I want you to let me lead you, guide you, and direct you so you live your life the way I want you to, instead of living it for yourself. Living for him is so much better. And we'll say that, won't we? Oh, our holy, righteous self will immediately say, God's smarter than me, and I want to live my life like he wants me to. Let him ask you to do something that you really don't want to be doing. Or be somewhere that you really don't want to be being. And inside of ourselves, we immediately ask two questions. First of all, God, where are you going to take me? I'm fascinated by the story of Abraham when God says to him, pack up your stuff, gather your family, and go. Abraham's like, okay, where? I will tell you where you are going when you get there. We always taught in leadership class, and it's true. If you don't know where you are going, how will you know when you get there? And that's true. We should know where we are going. But God wouldn't tell Abraham where he was going. He just said, go, and I'll tell you when you get there. See, sometimes my plans for where I want to go and what I want to be doing get so big that I no longer see his plans, because I'm so wrapped up in my plans. God, this is what I want, so you're going to bless it. So God, yes, I'm willing to go anywhere that you want me to go. Just tell me where it is that you want me to go. God literally says that to me in ministry, literally. That's not any of your business. You get up and go. I'll tell you when to stop. I'll tell you when to speak. I'll tell you, wow, so Mike, get your hands off of your life and let me put my hands on it. That's okay with me, God, because you're smarter than I am, but I need to know where I'm going so I will know when I get there. That's what I taught people. Oh boy. The second thing we want to say is, do you really know, Lord, what will make me happy and fulfilled? Do you really know what will make me happy? If you do, then why am I not happy? If you do know, Lord, then why am I not fulfilled? I meet with people that are struggling, and I struggle. Here I go, being real to you. It's like, if I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, then why am I not happy? Why am I looking for other things outside to fulfill me? God, if you really are smarter than me and you really want what is best for me, because again, I believe Romans 8:28. I've preached Romans 8:28. I quote Romans 8:28. But sometimes I look at the reality of life and say, wow, this ain't very good. Maybe some of you can understand what I'm saying. So, God, yes, I want to do what you want me to do, but do you really know what will make me happy? I'm sorry, there goes my voice again. Unless you are totally, fully, and completely yielded to God, so that all that says no inside of you has been exchanged for one big yes. The answer of God's promises is yea and amen. You will begin to wonder if he is as smart as he claims to be. Unless you come to the place that you say one big yes to him and his will, you will wonder if he's as smart as he really claims to be. The nagging doubt in your mind about his goodness will prevent you from taking your hands off your life, and you will ruin your life by your own contaminating touch. Dr. Kinlaw. There's that nagging doubt in it, but God, I'm so alone. You don't know what makes me happy and fulfilled. And that nagging doubt keeps my hand on trying to fix what God has already fixed. What God has already said, this is what I want in your life. And I'm trying to interfere with that to fix it. And sometimes I'm interfering with that from the perspective that is very, very wrong. General William Booth, the founder of the Salvation Army, said, watch the fire on the altar of your heart. The tendency of fire is to go out. And once that fire goes out, my friends, we are then looking at things from a perspective that is very, very warped in our attitudes. And that's when that nagging doubt comes. The truth is, God is smarter than I am, and he is smarter than you are. When he instructs us to go a certain way, it is because he sees the entire picture and he knows what is ultimately best for us. We come to a place where we look up into his face and say, I can't see as well as you can see. I can't understand, God. I don't know. I'm not smart enough to be able to see all of this. Please Guide me so that I don't hurt myself and that I don't hurt others around me. Because I don't just know that you are wiser than me. I believe it. And I will obey you, even when you lead me to a place that looks wrong to me. We need to ask God today to change our no that still exists in our hearts for the yes that exists in Him. You'll never be sorry if you trade all you have and all you are for who God is. Why is it so hard to do that? Why? He's proven that I can trust Him. He's proven that I can trust Him. Why is it so hard to trust Him with my future and my personal directions and my life? We will submit to His will with tears of sorrow running down our face. Oh, we are making such a great, huge sacrifice for God. Oh, God, help us. His will for us is good for us, and it's good for those we love. But we don't see that. We act like we're making some big, huge, oh, God is telling me to go do this. I don't really want to do it, but I'm going to obey Him in spite of that and suffer through the pain. See, I've said this before. This is a real effort that Satan makes. He tries to convince us that sin is fun and holiness is a bunch of drab don'ts. That's why nobody wants to talk about holiness anymore. Is because we've made it into this bunch of, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do something else. You can't wear a ring. You can't wear a watch. Your sleeves have to cover your fingertips. Your dresses have to be below your bottom of your feet. And the devil uses that. He makes sin look like, oh, you're going to have such a great time, man. You're going to go out and get drunk with your friends, and you're going to sleep with everybody in the bar, and you're going to party, and you're going to have a great time. But if you have holiness, you're just going to go to church for an hour every Sunday and listen to somebody stand up and tell you how you should be living your life when they don't even know how to live their own life. Drab. That's the way he presents it. Let me tell you something, folks. Living in holiness is the most dynamic, fantastic, wonderful lifestyle that you can have. It is exciting to follow Jesus. It is exciting to learn how to be like Him and how to think like Him and to have attitudes like Him, because then I'm not messing everything up because I have my hands on it. God has His hand on it. And I simply should be saying to Him, yes and amen. Be honest. How often, those of you that have had the courage to listen all the way through, how often do you say yes and amen to Him? And how often do you say, well, what are you doing this for? Why did you let this person that I loved die? Why did you let them leave? Why do friends turn their backs on me? Why do churches kick me to the curb? Why? But when my attitude has settled on getting rid of the no inside of me and just simply saying, Lord, amen. Whatever it is that you want. I've talked about these things before. Let me see if I can share it quickly. I look at 3 different animals in the analogy. I look at the monkey, the cow, and the tiger. The baby monkey, it's an interesting thing. Monkey mommies are actually good mommies. but they're not good in the sense of really making sure their baby's okay when the mommy monkey is moving somewhere else. The mommy monkey grabs a hold of the limbs above her and she's just swinging on the limbs. And it's like, hey, baby, good luck with this. Baby wraps its hands around mommy's neck and its feet around mommy's legs and holds on with everything inside. Don't drop me, mommy. And mommy doesn't seem to care. It's like mommy's just swinging through the trees. Oh God, where is it that you're taking me? Then there's the cow. I won't tell the story about the young lady with the picture. I've done that before. But if you try to pull a cow somewhere, watch what that cow does, especially the calf. It'll plant its feet, buddy. And it's like you're pulling with everything inside of you to try to get it to move. And it's like, I don't know, the cow's saying, I don't know where you're taking me, but I don't think it's going to be good. And so, no, I'm not going. I'm not going. God, where are you taking me? I'm not going. I'll plant my feet. The tiger is one of the mightiest creatures that there is. We talk about the eye of the tiger because the eye of the tiger, if it's in a good mood, will look at you like I will tear your face right off of your skull. And it can do it. The power in her jaws is strong enough that she could rip my arm right off of my shoulder. When the tiger goes to move her cubs, she grabs a hold of them by the nape of the neck and lifts them up off of the ground. Can you imagine having those teeth with that jaw grabbing a hold of you by the neck? With an instant, she could crush that cub. And the cub goes limp. The reason for that is because that tiger cub has absolute trust in its mama. Mama, I don't know where we're going, and I don't know what you're doing, and I don't know if there will be any food where we go to, and I don't know if there will be a place to live where we go to, and I don't know what your plan is, but you've never let me down before. And so I will trust you to take me to a good place. It usually does take a little bit of time, but it is inevitable that when we obey God's direction, we will look up and say, Father, thank you for not letting me make a mistake. Thank you for not letting me mess it up. I have so many things. I could go off on a tirade and talk to you for another 45 minutes, telling you stories of times when I was praying, God, please let this happen. And it didn't happen. And a few months later, I was saying, oh, God, thank you that that didn't happen. Because I would have been in absolute disaster. God knows what he's doing. Do you believe that he's good? Do you believe that he is smarter than you? Do you believe that he has your best at heart? See, in Jeremiah 29:11, God makes that statement. I know the plans that I have for you. I know the plans that I have for you. Okay, God, I don't know where it is. I don't know what the future is going to hold. I can see major change coming in the future. I can see major change coming in this ministry. I don't know where that's going to be. But God, please take away the no in my heart and give me a great big yes. Get my hands off of my life and put your hands on it. And you don't even have to tell me where I'm going. Just give me the ability to load up the car and start out. Whatever it is that you want to do. Folks, I don't know how many of you that are watching today that have a no in your heart. But I imagine there's probably some. And over the last month, as we have shut everything down and tried to go into a reset, the greatest fear to me is that no in my heart. I want God to get rid of it. Do you want God to get rid of yours? I want you to seek Him in that today. If you would like help in praying for that, send me a message. Many of you know the email. If you don't know the email, go to thewarriorsword.org and you can send through Contact Us and the email will come to me. Do it today. Seek God to get rid of the no in your heart so that everything that you do and say becomes a yes, and you take your hand off and let God put His hand on. I pray that you will be blessed. Thank you for listening.